Hi, everyone. I'm so excited for you to listen to the show this week. We are splitting up the episodes into 2 parts because we had so much to talk about with the episode topic of people pleasing. So, in this first part, Sam and I are going to go into our journeys about people pleasing. I talk about how I actually recognized my people pleasing was manipulative. We really feel like there's so much misinformation online about people pleasing, or just really reduction in what people pleasing is, where actually people pleasing can be different things. It can be complex. People's experiences in people pleasing can be different. And Sam and I have really different journeys. So, in this first part, we're going to talk all about those journeys. And then in the second part, we're going to dive into some of the myths around people pleasing, how people pleasing is often really tied to resentment and anger. We're going to talk about what we did to work through our own people pleasing and leave you with some really great tips of how you can start implementing this in your life. So, the second part will be coming out tomorrow on Thursday. And before we dive in, if you could do us a favor and like this episode, share this episode, leave us a review. If you're on Spotify, turn the bell on so that you get automatic downloads every week. We love making this podcast so much, and we are trying so hard to make sure that it is sustainable for us. And that starts with making sure that we have enough people listening. As you probably know, nuance is not the most catchy, popular topic, but we feel so passionate about this. And more than ever in our extremely polarized world, I think we need nuance. So thank you so much for listening, and we're going to get into it. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Nuance Needed podcast. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Sam.
And we're going to talk about people pleasing today.
Yeah. Amanda, why don't you get into where we came up with that idea?
Okay. Well, we got to take it way back.
Yes.
I did a post about people pleasing. Oh my God. I was like engaged at the time. So probably early 2019. I did a post where I said, people pleasing can be a form of manipulation. Now, I know we're starting off spicy by me saying that.
Yes.
I'm not saying your people pleasing is manipulative necessarily. I'm saying that, dear listener, I'm saying that it can be sometimes, and I will share that the post came from my own experience with it.
Ooh. Like how you were people pleasing, like what you realized you were doing underneath it?
Yes, like I had the epiphany with my therapist that my people pleasing was manipulative. And specifically, it's because, you know, if you've been listening, you know that I struggled with addiction and eating disorder, and I was not a good friend, obviously, during those periods of my life.
Right.
And I really maintained this belief about myself for a long time that I was a really, really nice person. And that was very intertwined with my people pleasing, where I would say yes when I wanted to say no. If I did something wrong, I would effusively, over the top apologize. I would get people gifts that they didn't want or ask for if they were mad at me. Like, I couldn't tolerate people being upset at me or having any other emotion besides liking me, essentially. And that led to a lot of strange behavior, like buying people a gift when you eat all of their food. Instead of listening to them and just not eating their food.
Yeah.
And in my defense, I had an eating disorder and I was like an addict. So I really struggled and I couldn't stop.
This is layered, everyone.
Yeah. But
this is very layered.
Yeah, it is layered. That was sort of a bigger pattern of, I wouldn't say what I needed or wanted. I wouldn't speak up for myself. I was extremely avoidant. I would just say yes to avoid the conflict. And it was actually very self-serving. It wasn't that I was even trying to please these people as much as I was trying to avoid the discomfort of having a real conversation,
Right.
having a confrontation,
Having consequences.
having consequences
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
much for my
Yeah.
behavior. And that is something I think we don't always talk about with people pleasing.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think you and I have been like chatting about this off
Yeah.
and on for like a while. And in the perfection episode,
Yeah.
where we talk about perfectionism, we kind of like alluded to this idea of people pleasing. That is like when you bring up that specific example of the food, it's almost gaslighting
It's manipulation.
in that it's confusing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you're like, you didn't see that here. Here's a present.
Yes.
Like me again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you didn't see what you saw.
Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until I was in therapy and I was
Yes.
telling my therapist how unfair my friends were to me and how amazing of a person I was and how I just loved to do things for people. I don't even think I gave her that example and she still figured it out. And she was like, Amanda, like maybe you are really nice and really kind. But what you're doing, your people pleasing, is manipulative because you are not doing things for people out of the kindness of your heart.
Right.
You're doing things with strings attached. You
There's
are
a
only
motive.
giving someone a gift or saying yes or doing them a favor because you want to control their behavior and you want them to like you.
How overwhelming was that when you sat in that space for the first time?
I mean, I was shocked because
Yeah.
I thought I was the nicest person ever. And it was very destabilizing. I mean, this was not our first session or
Right.
even the first few sessions.
Yeah.
We had worked together a long time. We had a really good working relationship.
Yeah.
You know, we talk a lot about the importance of therapy being uncomfortable in the last episode, right?
Yes.
We just did.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think I really struggled with it when she said it. And it was really hard for me to understand. But she also gave examples of other people doing this and had me like imagine what it would be like if I was trying to have a conversation with someone or bring something up and someone gave me a gift.
Yeah, she put you in the like quote unquote receiving end
Yeah.
of the behavior.
Yeah. So it was really hard and I definitely like fought against it and I had to really marinate in it, but it was also extremely freeing because it helped me understand that what I was doing wasn't working and there was a reason for it. Like I couldn't figure out before why I couldn't maintain relationships and friendships. And once I saw these like invisible strings sort of going on behind the scenes, I was like, of course people aren't super excited about this behavior.
Yeah.
And it gave me hope to do something different.
Yeah, that would be like such a huge puzzle piece to come into place. It'd be like, but I'm so nice and I gave you things that I didn't have to give you. And
yes,
like
it was a great like, trump card sort of.
Yeah. So like get out of jail free.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you weren't really getting out of jail. You just felt like you were and you made everybody uncomfortable.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And your people pleasing looks very different than mine. Which is why it probably wasn't manipulative. And again, that's why we're not saying everyone's is.
Right.
But that is the origin of where all of this came, is we kind of want to debunk that people pleasing can be many things. It can be a trauma response. It can be because of anxiety. It can be because you truly want to please people. It can be avoidance. It can be manipulation. There's a lot of layers to it. And we want to kind of spend time in this episode picking apart facets of what people pleasing can be.
Right. What it goes back to as well is, and this is kind of like therapy 101, but if you want to understand how to actually change something, you have to understand why you're doing it in the first place. Like every single person on earth has what we would label as like quote unquote maladaptive coping skills or bad coping skills, things that don't serve you, but they feel like they do because they're helping you avoid something. And so if you're sitting there being like, oh, like I recognize that I'm kind of like a people pleaser and I, like struggle with that, you have to take time to take a step back and analyze the why.
Mm-hmm.
And then be willing to sit in the space where you realize like, no, I was manipulating everybody,
Yeah.
But that is like such a powerful realization too. I mean, that like truly, that's almost like identity altering in a
Yes,
way.
it was. And the funniest part, Sam, is I wanted to be a therapist. Like, so I was in school to become a therapist
Yeah.
during this time.
Yeah.
And I wanted to become a therapist because I thought I was so nice.
Yeah. Oops.
I was like, I will just sit with people and be so nice to them. And so it totally changed my identity, but also changed my life in the best way. And thankfully,
Yeah.
I was already getting into recovery, so things were pretty wide open and
Things were pretty
not
bleak.
stable anyway. So I
Yeah.
was very open to hearing hard truths about myself.
Mm.
But yeah, and it's very funny because obviously that is not the way I am as a
No.
therapist. I'm much spicier.
What I learned as a caregiver, as a child who was put in the role of a caregiver.
Yeah.
And I've hashed this out with my parents. I've dealt with this. Like everybody in my family is eyes wide open to what it was. But the natural role that I took on as the oldest child, the oldest daughter, was assisting in this caregiving role of my brother.
Yeah.
What I learned was I was very, very good at helping people.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned how to soothe people.
Mm.
Like I learned very quickly like what to say and how to say it and how to diffuse situations and to like how to feel discomfort
Yeah.
in order to make a situation better.
Yeah.
And take things on in order to like avoid the situation getting worse.
Mm.
And so I would do that in friendships sometimes. Like
Mm.
I learned like you have to be super flexible
Yeah.
because the other person is going to need that flexibility from you.
Mm. So you tolerated behavior that was not okay,
Yes.
maybe.
Yeah. Because I was so used to that.
Mm-hmm.
And bad behavior being justified.
Yeah.
Right? Like if my brother would be physical with me, that was okay because of his disability. Well, he doesn't know what he's doing, and so we just have to be okay with it. Now, I should also preface, thankfully, I have not been in a relationship where I was physically abused. I'm not about to drop that bomb on everybody here. I'm very lucky in that regard. However, I use that example to say I learned very quickly how to justify behavior I wasn't okay with because that diffused the situation. And so if I could like apply a reason to it, I then coded it as like, oh, like I'm really good at empathy.
Yeah.
And I'm really good at like being compassionate.
Yep.
Which was true.
Right.
Like those were natural skills that were in me and are still here today. But they weren't allowed to have like a healthy developed outlet. Mm-hmm. The development of those traits was like forced upon me.
Yeah.
I learned people pleasing and how to soothe. Mm-hmm. And how to make things better. So now, I'm sure you're all listening to this going like, are you sure you're okay in the profession that you chose? And yeah, it's something that I really had to unpack when I started doing my work really seriously after I'd finished school, was that part of why this profession was appealing was because it was a trauma response. Yeah. It was familiar. It was comfortable. It was what I knew. You kind of have this assumption of like, oh, well, I'm naturally good at this, so that must mean this is what I want to do. Yeah. And I had to like sort through that. Mm-hmm. And, I'm okay with where I'm at now. I'm at peace with it because kind of like you learn, oh, I don't have to do that from that place anymore. Yeah. Like I can have empathy for someone and understanding while holding them accountable for something. Yeah. I don't have to excuse behavior that I don't like. Yeah. Right? I don't have to excuse things that impact me or affect me. Mm-hmm. But it was wild. I I was such like an adult
Yeah.
as a kid, just because of like the natural circumstances.
Yeah. What's hard is it like works.
Yes.
Right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
it a lot of times in the moment temporarily works better. It's sort of
Yes.
right. That is the way a lot of maladaptive behaviors work, is it is much easier to just say yes instead of saying no,
Yeah.
or be agreeable, or
Mm-hmm.
help out when you can't, or not point out that something isn't okay because you
Right.
spend time and energy. The problem is down the road, you aren't developing
Mm-mm.
healthy conflict skills, communication skills.
Mm-mm.
You aren't learning how to stand up for yourself, and you end up resentful. And then you have a
Mm-hmm.
bigger problem that you have to deal with down the road.
Yeah. The resentment was a huge one for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
I absolutely had to like sort through that. And there were moments in my healing process where I just had to be like, I hate my brother. Like, I don't have to love him right now. Like, while I grieve this and grieve this life that I have, like, it is okay that I express that rage and that bitterness and that anger. And when I leaned into that, it actually made me a better sister to him.
Yes.
Because I started to realize, like, no, I want to show up for you because I do love you.
Yeah.
You are my brother. I love you. I care about you. I want to help protect you and care for you. And I get to do that boundaried.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I still go out and live my life. Mm-hmm. And I'm very lucky in this caregiver dynamic that I have parents who are so supportive of, like, no, your life is your life.
Yeah.
This is our life as parents, right?
Yeah.
He is our responsibility. He's not yours.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's a lot of caregiving situations, if we're going to keep using that example, where that is not true. And there's a lot of people that feel obligated to continue to do that, or they're getting guilt tripped or what have you. And that's really hard to like walk yourself out of. But I think if you are recognizing in yourself that you are a people pleaser, whatever the background or the situation is.
Yeah.
If you recognize that you engage in behavior that is self-sacrificing of yourself. Mm-hmm. So you're saying yes a lot of times when you want to say no, you take more on than you can actually handle. You're afraid to open up to people about what you're feeling or what you need. You don't like, if there is an issue and you are feeling anger, you feel yourself doing the mental gymnastics to justify why you don't actually feel that angry. And so you don't have to deal with it or do anything with it, right? You can just let it go. Mm-hmm. If you are engaging in any of those types of behaviors or more, those are people-pleasing behaviors.
Mm-hmm. Being a chameleon
sometimes
is another good sign.
Yeah. You like what the person who you're with likes, even if you don't like that. Yeah. That's a big one in dating.
Yeah. If anyone's seen the movie Runaway Bride, have you seen that movie?
Oh,
I love that movie. That's one of my favorite movies ever. For anyone who hasn't seen it, it's Julia Roberts and Richard Gere, she is a runaway bride, and every person that she's with, the classic example is that she likes the same eggs as all of them. And she has this existential crisis of being like, I don't even know what kind of eggs I like. And she tries all these different kinds of eggs to figure out what she likes. And I think that is something that happens with people pleasers who are super chameleons. Mm-hmm. You don't even you don't know what music you like. You don't know what movies you like, because it's just whatever anyone likes is what you like. Whatever anyone doesn't like is what you like. And part of the work may also be deconstructing that and figuring out what you do actually like, how you will take your eggs.
Some of the best advice I've ever received is twofold. 1, focus on your sleep. 2, make your home a sanctuary. And sometimes to do that, you have to invest in some items to make that happen. And one of the best investments that I have made recently is buying the Cozy Earth bamboo pajama set. When I tell you these are the best pajamas I have ever worn in my life, I'm not lying to you. I sometimes really struggle with pajamas because they're not comfortable. They make me really hot at night, and it's just, I don't like it. These have completely revolutionized the way I sleep, the way I enjoy my sleep and getting into bed and feeling comfortable and cozy. The fabric is so breathable. It is a soft stretch knit that just feels like heaven on your body. It's so lightweight and I sleep so cool, which has been such a big deal for me. The other wild thing is their pajamas are made from the same exact material as their sheets. So if you buy the sheets and the pajamas, it's like the most incredible sleep of your life. So because I love it so much, if you go to cozyearth.com, use code NUANCE, NUANCE, for 40% off your order. I am telling you right now, go to cozyearth.com, use code NUANCE, and you are going to get 40% off your order. And if you use our code, please let them know that Nuance needed to send you. A better year starts with better sleep. Wrap yourself in cozy earth, and I cannot wait to hear how much you love these pajamas. Yeah, the part of why I started identifying some of the symptoms was because going back to my story of like resentment, you have to allow yourself to sit in those spaces of what you're feeling before you engage in the people-pleasing behavior. So like for me, I would find I was a really big justifier of my anger. I think
a lot of women are.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was really good at identifying and minimizing why I was angry. When really what I was doing was trying to make myself okay with like fitting into this teeny tiny little box. And that I was being the better, bigger person because I was shoving myself in that box.
Right? And you kind of get to be right.
Yes.
Like there is this hidden little payoff of
this
getting
like moral,
to think you're a good person.
Yeah. This like moral high ground of like, wow, look at how good I am that I didn't make anybody upset.
Yeah. Well, I bet you that was even more compounded for you. I mean, I think a lot of women relate to sort of being a good girl, eldest daughters, especially. Yeah. We could go down all that. But for you, Sam, I mean, with being raised in the church, I think that is like, you know, 10x.
I was asking for forgiveness for everything, even though I never changed my behavior. I didn't do anything different. I just was like, please forgive me. I'll do better tomorrow. And then I didn't do better tomorrow. And then, I have done a lot of unwinding. Yeah. So when I talk to you about that, it's because this is lived. And I know you are different situation, but same exact boat. Like the unwinding from addiction is just like nothing else.
Yeah. And I think too, you know, I wouldn't say maybe you could say it was a bit of a trauma response of I moved so much as a kid. That was really hard for me. So I learned to just like adapt in terms of friendships if I go back before. But I also think it was just really modeled to me. Like this was something my mom kind of did. She very much is like, I'm so nice. I go out of my way for people. It's really important. But there were also strings attached a lot of times. So I bring that up because when we say, you know, look at your childhood, look at your past to be able to figure out what you're doing now, I think because of the internet, that's sort of been cannibalized as it means trauma.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it does, but it can also mean it was modeled to you. Like, especially I think moms and daughters, I do think that's a pretty common like lineage that sort of happens where you learn how to be in conflicts, how to be in friendships, how to be in the world through watching how your family does that too. And that isn't necessarily trauma, it's modeling.
Do you feel like chameleon was kind of like your gateway drug to people pleasing?
Yes. I think that is a perfect way of putting it.
Yeah. Like you learned how to kind of be like super fluid and like read the room almost.
Yes.
So instead you like convinced yourself like, oh, I'm just really good at reading people. But
yes, I'm really good at fitting in.
Yeah. But really you just wanted friends.
Yes, exactly.
I will do anything for you to like me.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. And that's why I think we just wanted to talk about it. Is I'm frustrated and I'm interested in your opinion, Sam, but it just feels like a few years ago, everyone discovered that someone, I don't know who the first person was that said that people pleasing, you know, was a trauma response, but it has just taken off like a wildfire. And it feels like if you say anything that isn't that, or acknowledge that there are other layers. Like even one thing I think
Yeah.
about a lot is agreeableness is a literal personality trait.
Yes. There are some people that don't care.
Some of us are more agreeable. Like my
Yeah.
husband is a very agreeable person, and it has nothing to do
I would agree with
with
that.
a lot of other things. Like there are people who are less opinionated.
Right.
I mean, it's hilarious to me because I'm a very opinionated person. So obviously I'm not probably inherently a people pleaser. I'm probably more avoidant and afraid and chameleon-y and all the things we were talking about. So anyway, I say that to just be like, this is complicated. There are lots of factors. And I'm really frustrated with the narrative online that it can only be talked about as trauma. And if you suggest anything else, you are being really harmful.
I mean, this could launch us into a whole different topic, but like, not everything is trauma.
Yeah.
You can develop bad coping skills simply because you were in like difficult situations.
Or they were modeled to you.
Or they were just modeled to you. Like, it's not necessarily because something like horrific and earth-shattering was happening.
Yeah.
But if you were in a home or living in relationship dynamics where there wasn't high emotional intelligence.
Yes.
Like, that isn't necessarily traumatic. That's just you lived a life and you learned how to survive and get by. And now we're recognizing that doesn't serve you anymore. So we can all like unwind from that, identify the roadblocks and like figure out how to move on.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, like let's go all the way to the end of the spectrum, right? If you were like, unfortunately, like a victim of sexual abuse, sure.
Yes. Or any abuse. Abuse. Yeah.
Yeah. Like physical abuse, emotional abuse, any of those sorts of things. Your response to those things then becomes a trauma response, right? Because those are traumatic events in a child's life.
Yeah.
To simply have parents that didn't know how to like communicate with you about what you were feeling or didn't know how to talk about feelings, or you would see them model like crappy behavior in their friendships, right? That's just living a life with someone who they didn't get that from their parents either. And it's like generational, and it almost becomes like the family culture of, oh, like we don't like conflict. We just don't talk about things and whatever. But yeah, like it doesn't, I think all of this to say, I almost want to like soothe some of you that there isn't something like inherently wrong with you or some huge horrific thing that you're missing from your childhood, because you're identifying that you have these traits.
I also want to say too, whenever I say anything about how, not everything is trauma, I think there's a very strong reaction of, well, we have to make sure we're not minimizing little t trauma because, right, people only think about really big events as trauma. And we need to make sure that we're acknowledging the small little things that happen. And that is 100% true.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be super clear. We're not saying that little t trauma isn't true. And we will do probably a multi-part episode about this
on
soon.
Trauma.
I promise you. Hang tight. But it's just really hard with the internet. And obviously when you talk about one facet on the internet, there is an assumption that you are disregarding purposefully all the other facets or believe all the other facets are false when you're just talking about one facet. And you can talk about one thing without thinking everything else is not true.
Right. And if you were to like meet with your therapist and find out that the way you were raised in your home actually involved like little t trauma, great, good, awesome. Like if you recognize that. However, we're also saying it doesn't have to be that.
Yeah.
It can be both.
Yes.
Like for me, I recognized that there was a separation. Growing up with my brother was traumatic.
Yeah.
There were a lot of traumatic things that happened as a result of that were traumatic to me.
Yeah.
However, not every interaction I had with my brother was traumatic.
Yes, that's the distinction.
And so...
And it's like most of us have trauma. That is true.
Yes.
And not everything is trauma. And it's even more complicated because everyone does get to decide. Like, we are never going to sit here and be like, no, you don't have trauma.
Yeah.
We know better. Even if I'm a therapist of someone, I know them really well.
Yep.
Or like, I believe everyone deserves to call whatever they feel is trauma. Also, sometimes I, as a therapist, think someone definitely has trauma, and I would absolutely label this as trauma, but they don't want to. They don't feel comfortable, and that is absolutely their choice. So we're not trying to gatekeep any words. We're just, as always, trying to bring nuance to the situation and help you see that people-pleasing is more complicated than just being a trauma response. And I hate that the internet has just made it is the automatic thought of someone says people pleasing. It's just like, boom, trauma response. And we're not allowed to talk about anything else.
Well, and it also it makes some things feel so big.
Yeah.
And that's what I like that we do on here as well, is I want to make the things in your life that you want to heal from or work on or get better feel manageable. And I think sometimes when we keep throwing this word around, we are making a lot of things feel too daunting.
Yeah.
And it causes people pause because they're like, well, if I start to deal with that, it's like, oh, this is going to come up and it's going to be so much. It's going to be so hard. And yeah, at first, when you start, kind of like you said with your story, that's hard to sit with. I thought I was just a really good gift giver. I thought that was my love language.
Exactly what I said. Okay, you guys, can I tell you this?
Yes.
This is the specific example. Is I used to, because again, I was bulimic, so I would eat everyone's food.
Yeah.
And I ate someone's monkey bread mix that was from Williams-Sonoma that was very dear to them.
Oh my God.
And then I went to Williams-Sonoma to try to replace it. And they were out, and it was out of stock. So I spent multiple hundreds of dollars buying this person tons of other Williams-Sonoma stuff. And they were so mad, rightly so, because they were just like, fuck you. I just wanted my monkey bread. I didn't want pots and pans and cookbooks and everything else you bought.
Wow. Yeah, that's
guys. Don't worry, none of these people talk to me, so none of them are listening.
You know what? Even if they are, it's your truth.
I'm sorry.
And you're throwing yourself under the bus. If there's one thing you can expect when you come on this podcast, it's us to be violently honest with you about our own lives and what we've been through, because there's a reason we became therapists, and we just laid them all out to you. Yes.
Thank you all so much for listening to the podcast. We will be back tomorrow with part 2, where we are going to dive all into how to actually stop people pleasing, and also talk about resentment and anger and how that's often very intertwined with people pleasing. In the meantime, we would love to hear from you. If you're on Spotify, you can leave us a comment below. We'd love to hear what you think about this episode. What is your journey like with people pleasing? And also, we'd love to hear from you. If you have a comment, a topic, a question, something you want us to talk about, feel free to reach out to us. You can email us at podcast@therapyforwomencenter.com, or we are crowdsourcing for FAQ episodes, and we would love to have you call in. You can call us at 813-444-8683. We won't answer the phone. You can be anonymous. Let us know what your question is, and we'd love to answer that.